good thing. I believe we're ready. Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Can I stand? Do I need to sit, or you might just pick me up if I talk from here?
Depends how loud you talk, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I'll talk pretty loud, okay? I've sat for less hour again. So, we are delighted to be here. I thought it was a great event. I thought it was proof that there are other ways to run for president than consultants seem to think. And that, in fact, I think the American people were the big winners tonight, and I hope it becomes a pattern. And I would certainly hope that, Herman and I have already talked about doing a couple of other examples like this, and I would hope that other candidates like Romney and Perry would also agree to one-on-one. Think of them as dialogues rather than debates. I mean, they don't have the fighting quality of a debate. And I wanted to introduce Peter Ferrara, because when you want to talk to him later on, he'll be here after we're done, and he is brilliant, and I think he's the only academic who's now had, or intellectual who's had two presidential candidates cite him on the same evening. So, anyway, questions? Yes?
Speaker Gingrich, Randy Chandler, Floresville, Texas. Question for you in terms of the way you would run business as president. If you found that Congress would not follow your lead as president, would you in fact go ahead and start to try to legislate from the Oval Office, as Mr. Obama promises he will do?
The job of the President of the United States, which Reagan did brilliantly and other great presidents have done very effectively, is to educate the American people, arouse the American people, and have them, as Reagan used to say, his job was to show the light to the American people so they would turn up the heat on Congress. I think it is profoundly wrong for a lot of different reasons to try to have a president imposing law when he doesn't have the will of the people supporting him.
Newt, I've known you for quite a long time, and I appreciate all the meetings that we've had here in Houston and other places that we've met. For your campaign to go forward and go beyond what it has been, it seemed to be strong. What do you have to do now, after talking and debating with Herman Cain, to be able to move up at least 2 notches, be in the top tier?
Well, I think right now we are, in the last survey I saw from Iowa, I was virtually tied with Mitt Romney for second place, with Herman in first place. And around the country, I'm pretty consistently now seen in third place and moving, which is a long way from where I was a month ago. I'm very happy. The first vote's January 3rd. And I think we're moving, and we're moving in the right direction. And I think it's because I run a campaign of substance. I mean, you know, I'm the only candidate who's actually helped balance the federal budget 4 times in a row, and the only candidate who has actually helped pass an entitlement program, reform program. So, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with where we are and how things are evolving.
Do you think you can continue to compete if you don't raise a lot more money?
Sure. The fact that I'm rising despite not having either the consultants or the millions. Look, some candidates think you win the election by going to Wall Street and raising millions of dollars. I think you ultimately reach the American people by having better solutions and better ideas. And when you live in an age of micro media where you can, you know, my Twitter followers are about the same as the number of MSNBC viewers. so I'm perfectly happy to play with it. I think we're gaining ground. I think watch the viral nature of tonight's debate, and over the next 2 weeks, how many people watch it in ways that don't fit any of the old-time media's understanding of how America now works. I'm very happy with where we are.
Mr. Gingrich, here in Texas we produce a lot of energy. Where do you stand with man-made global warming?
Well, I think it's a question where I stand. The scientific community believes that there is some. There's some scientists who dissent. I'm not prepared to say either way. I think somebody who gets up and tells you flatly they know there's no global warming has no basis for saying that, and somebody gets up and tells you flatly there is global warming has no basis for that either. I certainly don't see anything in the current evidence that would lead me to want to have a multi-trillion-dollar government-controlled program like cap and trade.
To play devil's advocate, not to stir any controversy, how would you have handled the question that was given to Herman Cain in answering the question about the women's accusation? Would you have done the same thing?
I'm not going to comment on that. Period. Glad to talk about policy. Glad to talk about where America's at and what America needs to do.
Time for one more.
Mr. Gingrich, Alicia Dover from ABC News. If and when the other candidates start taking shots at you and giving you gotcha questions and doing negative campaigning against you, will that change your strategy at all?
No, I think if you watch what happened to both Romney and Perry when they got involved in bickering, and Romney reached out and put his hand on Perry and what I thought was kind of weird, frankly. You know, this is not a year where the American people are amused in the middle of the level of pain we have by politicians who become negative and who become tiny. They shrink. I'm going to stay positive. The only person I intend to be very directly critical of is President Obama, and I'm going to keep focusing on President Obama all the way up through the 7 debates in September and October next year. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Thank you for coming.